get a lot of questions from you guys about how I color my line art on my drawings, what colors I use, so here's a quick tutorial. So I'm gonna be using this drawing of Kokomi to teach you how I color my line art. First of all, the program I use is Clip Studio Paint, but this should work in any program that has layers and clipping masks. So the way I personally do this is create a layer on top of my line art layer or folder, and then on Clip Studio Paint I click this button that says Clip to Layer below. This symbol appears, and now anything that I color on this layer will not go outside of the borders of my line art. If for any reason your drawing program cannot clip to a folder, all you have to do is merge your layers in the folder, and then it should work because it's just clipping to one layer. I recommend you do a quick Google search about your program. You just have to look for the name of the program, clipping layer. If you don't want to use a clipping layer, another method you can use is going directly to the line art layer and locking the transparent pixels, which does exactly the same thing as before, but in the same layer instead of in a different layer. Personally, I prefer having a different layer, a separate layer, just so that I can, if I make any mistake, it's just easier to delete without having any issues. So now that we have our clipping layer, it's time to start coloring. I usually do this step after my shading is finished or after my base colors are finished, because I'm always going to try to pick my colors based on the base colors that I have already on the drawing. For example, Kokomi's hair is light pink, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick this color and then I'm gonna choose a darker, more saturated version of that color. And now you might think this looks a little bit weird, and I would agree, because this part of the hair is a lot lighter than this part. So in order to make it like a very smooth, nice gradient, I will make the color even darker. And then I'm gonna choose the airbrush tool, which all drawing softwares should have, and I'm gonna gently, softly create a gradient that goes from darker to lighter, so just so the colors fit the base colors that we have going on. If it's darker here, the line art's also gonna be darker. Now here we reach a purple part of the line art, because the base object is purple, and you can do this in two ways. You can either go and very carefully try to match like the items and the lines perfectly, but something I don't mind doing and that I actually like doing is, once again, the fluffy airbrush, and just kind of make everything softer, just so there's not like a jarring change of color here, and everything just goes in a neat like gradient that softly like engulfs everything. This is just the way I personally prefer to do it, but you can also just like, if the object is purple, lines are purple. If the object is pink, lines are pink. The way I also do my work, which, you know, can be different from the way anyone else does theirs, is that my whole eye is covered in line art, so I color all my eyes black. When I'm doing line art, I simply prefer that because I think it looks cute. And then I just color the eyes the same way I color the rest of the line art. I just pick the colors and color it all in the same layer. And it's kind of crazy how big of a difference it makes.